Walton can tip it. Bryant with the save.
Oh, you got to get a shot here.
Final second.
Look at the time. 9:58 world record. I told you, Tom Hammond.
The ball. Lewis gets it to LeBron for three for the win. Yes!
I've said it before, and I'm gonna stick to my guns. It's a 50-50 fight. Now I do feel like Terrence has the better resume. That's why I have him as high as I have him. #1 on my pound-for-pound list. He cleaned out a whole division, right? He's been champion for a long time. He went to Scotland to win the title. Can he beat Gamboa, stop Gamboa when Gamboa was being compared to Floyd Mayweather? People forget about that. They look at a guy 5 years down the road, say, oh, you just beat this guy, but he's been knocked out X amount of time. But you gotta judge him based on where he was at that time. He was undefeated, and he was being compared to Floyd Mayweather. That's the guy that Terrence Crawford defended his belt against.
Oh man, oh man, oh man. Do I need an introduction? Y'all heard it from Andre Ward. Y'all heard it from him. Now, I don't need Andre Ward. I don't need no Errol Spence fans. I don't need nobody to tell me that Terrence Crawford has a better resume than Errol Spence Jr. Now, we're looking at the screen and we're looking at both these guys' resumes when they won their first belt. Errol Spence Jr., after he beat Kell Brook, you see he faced Lamar Peterson going all the way up. Terrence Crawford, when he moved to 147, he beat Jeff Horn going all the way up. But we're going to talk about Terrence Crawford's resume before he got to 147. So, Terrence Crawford held 6 belts before he moved to 147. 6 belts. You got to understand that Terrence Crawford started his career as a lightweight. He beat the likes of Ricky Burns, and then he beat the likes of Gamboa. Gamboa didn't have a belt, but Gamboa was an undefeated fighter. Ricky Burns had a belt. He beat Ricky Burns for the WBO lightweight championship, and he defended that against Gamboa. Gamboa was the man at that time. He was the man to beat. Both of them was undefeated. Terrence Crawford defeated Gamboa. Gamboa is an Olympic gold medalist. Gamboa won. I'm not going to talk about his resume because then I'm going to have to talk about everybody's resume. But just know Gamboa was one of them guys to beat. Terrence Crawford defeated him. And then Terrence Crawford defeated Ray Beltran for the lightweight Ring Magazine. Then he moved up to 140, his first fight, and defeated Thomas Delorme. After he defeated Thomas Delorme, he fought Victor Postal for the WBC strap and the vacant WBC strap, welterweight strap, and the light welterweight Ring Magazine strap. Yeah, I'm trying to read this off. The light welterweight Ring Magazine strap. So, Terrence Crawford defeated Julius Indongo for the IBF and the WBC strap. So he had defeated Victor Postal for the WBA strap and the vacant light welterweight Ring Magazine belt. And then he went ahead and defeated Julius Indongo for the IBF and the WBC strap. So if you add all of that together, that's 6 belts. He held 6 belts before he moved up to 147. He unified at 135, and then he became undisputed at 147. And now we get into where y'all like to talk about, oh, Terrence Crawford has improved himself at the welterweight division. So we're going to look at Terrence Crawford's resume from when he moved to 147, and we're going to look at Errol Spence's resume at 147, but when he won his first belt. Because if you go down and you look at who Errol Spence faced before he faced Kell Brook, it's gonna be embarrassing for all the Errol Spence Jr. fans. If y'all think y'all don't know who Terrence Crawford has fought, y'all definitely not gonna recognize who Errol Spence Jr. has fought. Only person I recognize is Samuel Vargas, and that's it. That's it. Chris Algieri, but those guys weren't champions. Chris Algieri wasn't no champion. He won what the WBC silver. I don't know what's a silver welterweight strap. I don't know what that is. I don't know. Somebody could probably comment and tell me what that is, but that's not a belt. You can't compete for that. Nobody competes for that. Like if that was the case, then if Sean Porter, when he beat Sebastian Formella for that WBC vacant silver welterweight belt, then he would have to face Errol Spence, and Errol Spence would have took that belt from him. So I don't know what belt is that. Somebody probably could comment and let me know. But Terrence Crawford swept the whole division 147, and he dominated everybody that you could think about from 135 all the way up to 140. And then he moved to 147. He fought Jeff Horn his first fight at 147. Jeff Horn was coming off of a win, a controversial win over Manny Pacquiao. The reason why I felt Jeff Horn got that win was because he bullied Manny Pacquiao. He didn't make Manny Pacquiao do what Manny Pacquiao wanted to do, even though I believe Manny Pacquiao won that fight. I'm going to be unbiased. I believe Manny Pacquiao won that fight, but I'm not the judge. And it could have went either way, and Jeff Horn got the nod. But on the other hand, you look at Errol Spence Jr., he faced off against Kell Brook. Mind you, that's 7 champions now, because Bud faced off against Jeff Horn for the WBO welterweight strap, his first fight. That's 7. I previously stated that Bud had 6 championships before he came to 147. He held 6 belts before he came to 147. So he defeated Jeff Horn. That's 7. And Errol Spence Jr. faced off against Kell Brook. Kell Brook was coming off of a loss from the hands of Triple G. Triple G broke his eye socket. And to me, Kell Brook wasn't the same after that. He wasn't the same after that. So you're going to compare Kell Brook to the Jeff Horn that beat Manny Pacquiao. The Kell Brook that lost to Errol Spence Jr., we're going to compare him to the Kell Brook that beat Manny Pacquiao. And it's just not the same. Like, you can't compare them to. Jeff Horn was way better at that time. And that's a fact. So we're going to keep it going. If you look at Errol Spence Jr. now, we got Lamont Peterson. Lamont Peterson lost to Lucas Mathise. He lost to Timothy Bradley. He done lost to Danny Garcia before he faced off against Errol Spence Jr. So it's safe to say that he wasn't really that guy when Errol Spence Jr. beat him. Now, if you look at Terrence Crawford now, he faced off against Jose Benavidez. Jose Benavidez was undefeated. He was 27-0. And like I said, I'm gonna be unbiased. I did not know not one person that could quote me on this. I don't know not one person on Jose Benavidez's resume. But what I can say is he was undefeated, and you gotta prove that you're better than me by beating me. So Jose Benavidez had an equal chance of beating Terence Crawford than anybody else because they both had an O at the end of their record. He was a rising prospect, just like Virgil Ortiz, just like Jerron Boost Ennis. Not trying to say at the same magnitude, but he had a buzz behind him. And he was undefeated, and Terence Crawford gave him his first loss. So we comparing Lamont Peterson that got TKO by Lucas Mathise and got unanimous decision, got his ass whooped by Tim Bradley and lost to Danny Garcia. We comparing him to Jose Benavidez, the guy that had one leg, according to Errol Spence Jr., one leg, but was undefeated. I'll make y'all decide who y'all think was better at that time, Lamont Peterson or Jose Benavidez. Now let's keep it going. Carlos Ocampo. Carlos Ocampo, he was undefeated, 22-0, a rising prospect. If I'm going to give the nod to Jose Benavidez, I got to give the nod to Carlos Ocampo to Errol Spence Jr. prove that he was capable to put a 1 next to his record because Carlos Ocampo was not beaten. Nobody could have beat him, and Errol Spence Jr. did that. We got Amir Khan for Terence Crawford, next opponent. Amir Khan, shaky jaw. I don't really like Amir Khan like that. He lost to Kell Brook the other day. So we're going to give the nod to Errol Spence on that one right there. Even though Amir Khan, he is well established, but he's just too shaky, and I don't think he's that good. So we got Mikey Garcia for Errol Spence, next opponent. Now, Mikey Garcia, he shouldn't even be here. Mikey Garcia, he's not a welterweight. I repeat, he's not a welterweight. He tested out the welterweight division and realized that these guys are serious, and now he's moved down to 140. In fact, he ruled out fighting Terence Crawford, and he moved down to 140. So Mikey Garcia was not a welterweight. He moved up 2 weight divisions to fight Errol Spence Jr. So we're going to compare Mikey Garcia to Terence Crawford, next opponent, which is Egis Kavalauskas, the Mean Machine. Mean Machine was undefeated. He was 20-0, I believe, when he faced against Terence Crawford. He was undefeated. Nobody beat him. Mind you, he's defeating welterweights. Nobody knows Mikey Garcia's last opponents. Nobody knew who that was but Mikey Garcia. And Mikey Garcia lost his last fight. So, an unproven lightweight that moved up 2 weight divisions versus a guy that was undefeated at welterweight before they ran into Terence Crawford. Who was the better version at that time? Y'all tell me. But we're going to keep it going. We got for Terence Crawford, Sean Porter. We got Kell Brook, So, we all know that Kell Brook, he done lost to Errol Spence Jr. I stated that already. He lost to Errol Spence Jr. The Kell Brook that faced off against Terence Crawford, according to Errol Spence Jr. fans and other fan base, Kell Brook had no eye, and he was a shell of himself. But according to the records, Kell Brook was coming off of 3 wins before he faced Terence Crawford. 3 wins before he faced Terence Crawford. On the other hand, with Errol Spence Jr., he was coming off of a loss from Triple G. 6-round knockout, broke his eye socket. So, I don't know. Y'all determine which one was a better Kell Brook, but I can't. I don't know what to say. Y'all tell me. But next we got Sean Porter for Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. defeated Sean Porter, but Sean Porter already lost to Keith Thurman, and he already lost to Kell Brook. Now, I think it's safe to say Sean Porter wasn't that guy, right? He didn't have what it takes to take the next step to be that guy. He will always fall short in his biggest fight. Kell Brook, that was one of his biggest fight, and he lost. Keith Thurman, one of his biggest fight, and he lost. So Sean Porter wasn't able to take that next step. And that's why, to me, when people say he was a top welterweight, I said, yeah, he was good, but I don't believe he was a top welterweight. But I still give Errol Spence Jr. that because Sean Porter is a warrior. He gave everybody their best fight, and he proved to me when he fought Terrence Crawford, and that's Terrence Crawford's next opponent on the list, that he was more than just a ragged fighter, that he was a boxer. Sean Porter, I'm not sure if Terrence Crawford made him switch his style, but Sean Porter was not rushing, and when he did rush, he got hit. So I guess Terrence Crawford did made him switch his style, but Sean Porter looked damn good boxing. Now, Terrence Crawford defeated Sean Porter, stopped Sean Porter, the first fighter to stop Sean Porter. Errol Spence Jr. went to the judges. Sean Porter, split decision. So, I want to know who has a better resume between Terrence Bud Crawford and Sean Porter and Errol Spence. I mean, I want to know who has a better resume. We gonna sum it up right now, and I'm mad this video is this long. We gonna sum it up right now. Errol Spence Jr. faced off against Kell Brook, that's one champion. Mikey Garcia, I'm gonna say Mikey Garcia. I'm gonna give him Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia, a next champion. Sean Porter, a next champion, and Danny Garcia, a next champion. And I'm gonna throw in Ugas in there too. Ugas, a next champion. I'm just gonna throw Ugas in there too. That's 5, right? Now we got Bud. Bud faced off against Victor Posto. Bud faced off against Ndongo. Bud faced off against Ricky Burns. Bud faced off against Jeff Horn. Bud faced off against Yuriorkis Gamboa. Bud faced off against Julius Ndongo. And Bud faced off against Kell Brook. And Bud faced off against Sean Porter. Bud faced off against, bro. should I keep, bro? Like it's just not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair when you talking about resume. It's not fair. People gotta understand that these fighters that Terrence Crawford, they were undefeated fighters. A lot of these fighters were undefeated fighters. You cannot name one person, probably 2, Mikey Garcia and Ocampo was the only undefeated fighter on Errol Spence Jr.'s resume. You can't compare these guys' resume. You're going to look very foolish if you're trying to compare their resume. These guys already lost. Sean Porter already came out and he said that he was one foot in and one foot out when he went against Errol Spence Jr. He said the same with Terrence Crawford too. Like you can break down Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr.'s resume at 147 and it will be identical. But then when you want to incorporate Terrence Crawford moving from 135 to 140, and becoming undisputed at 147 and unified at 135, it's just very foolish for you to compare their resume. It just doesn't make any sense. So what I want y'all to do, I want an Errol Spence Jr. fan comment and let me know how is Errol Spence Jr. resume better than Terrence Bud Crawford when Terrence Bud Crawford already held 6 belts before he even entered the weight division. I want y'all to like, comment, share this video. I want everybody to comment and let me know what y'all think. And that's all I got for y'all, and I'm out.